Hello friends, today we are going to see International Financial Reporting Standards IFRS for our syllabus. What is IFRS? What is going to be included into it? Why it is required? What what was the need to introduce and a new set of accounting standard as compared to the earlier set of accounting standards which are already exercised and used in India. So let's solve all these doubts and questions in this session. First of all, what is IFRS? Let's try to understand various parts into this IFRS. As first will be the meaning of the IFRS, then the concept of IFRS, then its structure, and then we'll see the framework, how it is being framed out for us. IFRS is adopted by India because it was in procedure, and when first time it was adopted, it was on the basis for preparing its like general financial statements. The final accounts and the basic purpose of adopting IFRS was just to prepare the financial statement. This was the initial motto behind introducing or behind adopting the new set of accounting standards called as an International Financial Reporting Standard. Now first of all, let's try to go into the deeper meaning of what is IFRS is. IFRS is something an accounting standard, or rather we can call it as an reporting standard, as the standard which includes some common concepts, common acceptances and common relevant items which can be used at an international level. So we call it as an International Financial Reporting Standard. Further, IFRS has granted the limit for the exemptions from general requirement which is used to comply with the IFRS effective at the end of its first IFRS reporting period. So when first time we are going to implement the IFRS, at that particular time there are few general exceptions and some requirements are being exempted, or they are not made it compulsory. The fields are, or the compliances are not made mandatory at the first time itself when the IFRS is adopted. So let's go further. IFRS is something an international accounting standard. So it is on the basis of all the adopting countries general policies. So whatever policies are generally adopted by the countries coming together and helping in framing such standards will be using these standards. So it is kept into mind the acceptability and the scope of such standards is kept very wide. Further, the creation of the international standard is allowing the investors, organizers, various government authorities, then revenue departments and many other stakeholders to compare the IFRS supported financial statement. See what happened earlier when separate set of standards are used by separate like various other countries, then it becomes very difficult for me to compare the statements of the countries to like same business but having two units in the separate countries. For example, I have one unit of my business into India and the other unit is situated somewhere in North America. So it's like one part is in Asia and other is in North America. So like the entire policies, procedures, standards and the concepts, convention, principles, etc. Many things are there which we follow in accounting which are separate in all these countries coming together. So to land up on some common basis, onto some common concepts, some common policies, the intention was just to come down at the some stable and the common place which is now termed as an International Financial Reporting Standard. So when I am going to compare my financial statements of the one unit which is situated in Asia, that is India, and say somewhere in North America, then I can find both these financial statements comparable. And when can I find them comparable? Only when I am reporting, or only when my financial statements are prepared in accordance with IFRS, that is International Financial Reporting Statement. In India, we are using Indian accounting standards, which are, or rather we just call them as an accounting standards, which are issued by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Similarly, various other countries use their own. We also use some GAAPs, that is generally accepted accounting principles. We also use few international accounting standards which are called as an IAS. So accordingly, when each country uses some separate things, that makes it very much difficult for getting the financial reports comparable. And when the financial reports are not comparable, it becomes very difficult for us as a research student, as well as for the stakeholders, for the investors, for the government, for the revenue authorities, and many more. It becomes very much difficult. So this IFRS was brought into the picture. Currently, more than 150 countries have adopted this IFRS. So let's see the meaning of the IFRS in detail. So first of all, it is a standard. Then it is an interpretation, and it is a framework. So we have to focus on these 3 points importantly. First, it is a standard, then it is an interpretation, and then it is a framework that is being adopted by the International Accounting Standard Board. So when IFRS was intended to be brought into the picture and actually framed for the countries coming together, then one board was established which is known as International Accounting Standard Board, and under the expert personals in this board, such accounting standards, that is International Financial Reporting Standard, this financial reporting standards are prepared. So IFRS is important and then becoming such capable of comparability and various other features, which we'll see later on. Now we already discussed that what we are using today is, we are using few GAAPs, GAAP, that is generally accepted accounting principles. We also use this international accounting standards, that is IAS, and we also use accounting standards that are laid down by our Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So initially we had a mixture of all these things, now which we can replace it by IFRS. And IAS was laid down long back, but now it will be like slowly and gradually be taken over by the IFRS concepts. Let's continue it. In like various board meetings are conducted in relation to the framework, in relation to the finalization, updation, upgradation, some amendments of the accounting standards or the financial reporting standards. So on 1st of April 2001 meeting, it was like the board has taken over this IASC, that is that accounting standard committee, International Accounting Standard Committee was taken over. Hence now at the international level we don't have as such any committee, and it is just a International Accounting Standard board. Like this board has now taken up the IASC, and like during its general meeting, such decision was taken over. So IASB has continued to develop standards, and now we call them as. Let's see how it is structured. As we saw, the date was 1st April 2001. So it's like before 2001 there was one scenario, and after 2001 it's another scenario. So during 2001 we had these two things. First is International Accounting Standards, and the second one is Standing Interpretations Committee. So both of them have issued some standards, some guidelines, some basis on which we can take the decision, but further now it is replaced by the IFRS. So we come with these, that is after 2001. What is the scenario? This is the scenario after 2001. That is, international financial reporting standards are issued and interpretations are originated from such International Financial Reporting Interpretations Committee. So it's not just the board doing one activity. Just frame the standard and just issue it. This is not the just work done by the board. Continuously such standards are being reported, being tested, and found like they are implemented somewhere, and then some problems are being recognized, detected and solved, and they are interpreted in the various possible ways, and the expert people in this committee keep on interpreting such standards and try to develop and redevelop and refurbish them at the every possible time slot. So this is how we have got today the very refined version of the IFRS into our hands. Earlier it was distributed into various parts such as International Accounting Standards, Standing Interpretations Committee, then Generally Accepted Accounting Principles and so on. So this was something where IFRS was distributed, or it actually came into existence. Now let's see the background of the IFRS. Here, first of all, we had International Accounting Standard Board, as we have already discussed earlier, that this board has laid down various activities, and with the efforts of this board, the actual IFRS have came into existence. Then they found out first of all the need of the IFRS, and then the IFRS came into existence. Why this IFRS is brought into picture in India? Because the need of such IFRS was also found in the India, and the emergence of such IFRS language into the India made entry of such global language of the financial statements in the India, which is understood by almost many of the countries, and then it reduces the risk premiums that are charged by the markets on the capitals that gets hiked due to such differences in the accounting standards follow. So it's going to help us in giving some additional benefits, and then consequently after the adoption of the IFRS, India as a country may help all the organization to raise the capital without any risk premium, and more investors can be attracted with the help of various activities that are conducted by the entities, and their additional benefits that may arise, or rather they are going to arise due to the adoption of IFRS. Next is this accounting standards, or this like IFRS reporting is it's a reporting language basically, though we call it as a standard. So it's just like on basis of which we are going to report our financial statements. So with this is the reporting language which is officially announced by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, that all accounting standards which are issued by such organization earlier will be in convergence with the IFRS, which is already issued by the International Accounting Standard Board. So such IFRS will be in convergence with the accounting standards which are issued by the ICAI. Let's see the framework of the IFRS. So initially the objectives of the financial statements were understood, or the objectives of the financial statements are kept into consideration, and then on basis of such objectives the IFRS is being framed out. Then there are few underlying assumptions which shall be considered, and the underlying assumptions may be anything in IFRS which may relate to accrual concept or the going concern concept or any quantity, qualitative, any aspect that are there into the adoption of such IFRS. So that's what I was saying, accrual basis or the going concern basis or the qualitative characteristics of the financial statements. So when we consider all these things, we may say that the framework, that is the actual formation or the creation stage of the IFRS, arises something like this. So thank you all of you. In case of any questions, feel free to reach me at the given links. Hope you have understood all the basic criterias and the details that we have discussed today in relation to the IFRS basic concepts, its structure, its framework, and the criterias and the need of the IFRS. Thank you all of you.